President Bola Tinubu says views and opinions would be respected whether they are adversarial or complementary to his government. Governor of Ogun State, Dapo Abiodun, says his administration would continue to prioritize the welfare of its serving and retired personnel. Muslim rights concern, Murik urges federal government to reform Nigerian marriage laws. Details coming up shortly. Right, welcome back. I am Omohefe Peace Osemere. The President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has vowed that his administration will always uphold media freedom and respect opinions. The President, who made the pledge in Abuja during a meeting with members of the Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria, added that views and opinions will be respected whether they are adversarial or complementary to his government. In a statement by his spokesman, Ajurin Gelali, Tinubu acknowledged concerns about regulations impeding access to newsprint and further assured the Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria members that he would carefully consider their request for a review of policies affecting the newspaper industry. On his part, Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, said the federal government is committed to fostering a vibrant and responsible media landscape in the country. In other news now, the Vice Chancellor, Federal University, Oye Ekiti State, Professor Abayomi Fasino, has disclosed that the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, and its rival union, the Congress of University Academics, CONWA, will soon come together as a single academic union again. Speaking with newsmen at the annual leadership retreat organized by the Division of Student Affairs of the University in Osun State, he said elders in the academia are working tirelessly to end the rift that resulted to the formation of CONWA. He assured that the issues rocking the unions will soon be a thing of the past. It will be recorded that CONWA broke away from ASU in 2019, and this was on the heels of irreconcilable differences among some ASU branches and the new union, which was registered in 2022. In Ogun State now, where the Governor Dapo Abiodun has launched the 2024 Armed Forces Remembrance Emblem, promising that his administration would continue to prioritize the welfare of its serving and retired personnel. Abiodun, at the launch of the emblem at the governor's office, Okemoshan Abiyokuta, called on Nigerians to extend their support and care to the families left behind by the fallen heroes. The governor, who donated 10 million naira to the legionaries, also promised to look into the accommodation request of the legion, adding that a befitting edifice would be made available for them. Now let's head on to other matters. The Muslim rights concern, Murik, has urged the federal government to reform Nigerian marriage laws that will allow married women bear their fathers' names. The group's executive director, Professor Ishaq Akintola, who made the call in a statement, said the current practice where married women are forced to bear the husband's surnames is gender discriminatory, archaic, and oppressive. Professor Ishaq, while condemning the current practice, advocated for the adoption of women-friendly Islamic practice, which allows married women to bear their father's surnames after marriage. Right, you're watching news analysis on Politics and Business TV. Still to come, residents of Rivers State heave a sigh of relief as President Bola Tinubu again reportedly hold talks with the immediate past and present governor of the state. Details after this break. Do join us again. Right, welcome back. This is a news analysis live on Politics and Business Television. Now, the political crisis in Rivers State may have ceased as parties reached a truce on Monday night. This followed about 3 hours of talks at the Aso Rock Villa, Abuja, between President Bola Tinubu, Rivers Governor Siminalayi Fubara, his deputy Ngozi Odu, a former governor of the state, Peter Odili, and the immediate past governor, now a minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, and other stakeholders. Also present at the meeting were the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, and the President's Chief of Staff, Femi Gbajabiamila. At the meeting, a peace agreement was signed with some highlights, about 8 of them. One of them says all matters instituted in the court by the governor of Rivers State, Sir Fubara, and his team in respect of the political crisis in Rivers State shall be withdrawn immediately. All impeachment proceedings initiated against the governor of Rivers State by the Rivers State House of Assembly should be dropped. Also, the leadership of the Rivers State House of Assembly, as led by Honorable Martin Ameowule, shall be recognized alongside the 27 members who resigned from the PDP. At number 4, the remunerations and benefits of all members of the Rivers State House of Assembly and their staff must be reinstated immediately, and the governor of Rivers State shall henceforth not interfere with the full funding of the Rivers State House of Assembly. Point 5 says the Rivers State House of Assembly shall choose where they want to sit and also conduct their legislative business without interference and or hindrance from the executive arm of government. Point 6 says the governor of Rivers State, Sir Fubara, shall re-present the state budget to a properly constituted Rivers State House of Assembly. At number 7, the names of all commissioners in the Rivers State Executive Council who resigned their appointment, of course, because of the political crisis in the state, should be resubmitted to the House of Assembly for approval. And at 8, we saw, of course, that there should not be a caretaker committee for the local government in Rivers State. The dissolution of the local government also was amongst, the 8 points, of course, that the meeting actually brought about yesterday. Now, joining us live to discuss this is a veteran journalist and political affairs analyst, Cosmos Ekmunobi. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Maria.
Right. I think last week we discussed, the face-off between the state governor, Fubara, and, of course, his godfather, quote-unquote, who is now the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike. Well, it's been a tussle, one would say. And it looks like this trend is not just, it's not just in Rivers State at the moment. Of course, we understand that something of, that nature is also going on, in those states at the moment. But of course, there are levels and dimensions to these things. First of all, will it be right to at least applaud the president? First of all, of course, he says he is a unifier. Again, he's come into the picture to see how peace can reign.
Yeah, I will first and foremost commend the president for taking that initiative, and then to also commend every other person that may have participated in that meeting. All that we're saying is that there must be peace in Rivers State. Though the meeting or the truth, so to say, somehow is coming rather too late, because a lot of things happened in Rivers State. So much damage, so much political acrimony, and rift have been. One begin to wonder how they are going to really reconcile at the end of the day, because it's not about holding a meeting and signing an agreement. Nigerian system, we only try to treat symptoms at times. There are other undercurrent that gave rise to some of these things, which that meeting did not really address. So when you say, for instance, there will be no, they should drop impeachment process, that the governor should also represent the budget and recognize the other faction that have left, without really gauging the mood of this other group that have tasted power and that we are there with the governor when the fight was tough. Some of them may feel betrayed, so to say, that we have gone ahead to reconcile, and then these other people will now begin to see them as enemy. But when you look at the whole scenario, one will begin to ask, with this 8-point agenda that was signed by these two factions or these two groups, will it in itself address the problem in River State? Of course, there's already mutual suspicion. There's no way the relationship will be the same, whether you like it or not. It is a matter of time that these things would start all over. After all, there was an attempt before now by the president to really
wade into the situation,
and that thing didn't even yield any fruit before this one.
So you think this whole meeting yesterday is just a charade or something?
Yes, because I just said here where they only address the symptom of a sickness without really addressing the sickness itself. Something gave rise to some of these things.
All right, could you please help us get sense of what the root cause of this,
if we're, because there's no official statement as to what may have caused all this problem, but from what we've gathered from some of the key players, it has to do with godfatherism, godfather and the godson's agreement. There was this agreement that has to do with what you give me and what I will take at the end of the day. So the godfather has started taking those things only for the godson to realize that no, with this kind of arrangement, he will go nowhere, and begin to question some of them. Is this agreement, will it involve amount to the godson now going to obey the so-called agreement? If you refuse to obey this agreement, it means that the problem will
resurface or continue. Yeah.
Yes. Then, if you decide to obey those agreements, what is the fate of the people of River State that voted the governor? Because I said the other time that election is not a one-man's business.
Right.
You may fund the election, but there are other people and factors that came into play to produce such a governor. So it is not enough to say, I put you there, because it's not a military regime. People played their own role at different stages. So you may, of course, you may tip so person, this is a preferred candidate there, but others have to work to achieve that, because there were other political parties that fielded the candidate for that election.
Right, but having applauded the president, I mean, the role he's actually played in trying to, ensure that peace actually prevail over, crisis, wouldn't it be perfect or just right for you to be optimistic that indeed his intervention would, just put some sort of full stop to the tension between these two people?
I call it a temporary reprieve for the governor. Just temporary reprieve for the governor, because I know that we have seen situations like this in the past. It is a matter of time that the key actors will return to trenches. So unless the governor, decide to close his eyes and begin to implement the so-called agreement, 100%. Now, even at that, what if begin to implement it 100% for his predecessor? What happens to other key players in the state that will want one favor or the other? They will also gang up and begin to also sponsor internal crisis. So it is a double-edged sword. There's no way. For instance, some people are hailing governor that, yes, he's been able to stand up. Yes, that is freedom for the state. Now, if you go back to a godfather and begin to implement those things, people won't be happy with you. In any case, you have been able to expose some of these agreements. That means when you begin to implement them, that means you are beginning to use the state fund to also service your agreement
with the godfather.
So what happens to the affairs of the state? So this is a very big problem. The governor, of course, cannot sleep with two eyes closed.
But I recall clearly last week when we had this conversation, you even cited examples with, cases of godfatherism, the crisis that also emanated in the past. Is it that we find it difficult to learn lessons when things happen in the country?
You see, when at that analysis, I told you that I'm not really exonerating the governor of River State. You cannot go into any agreement you don't have the political will to really implement. You just want to get there first. You understand me? But again, we can be able to solve this problem of godfatherism if, for instance, the approach will stop such demand and you say, no, you cannot do it. You go to Mr. B. Mr. B will say you cannot. The next thing you will do is to throw it open for the best candidate to grab the power. But when they approach you and you say, yes, I'm going to keep faith to this agreement, that is where the problem starts. But the unfortunate thing there is that the governor, the former governor, even if he sponsored that election, he used the state funds. He was not a businessman at the time he sponsored that election. So it's possible he used the state fund and the state machineries to get the man through. So he cannot lay claim to any demand that after all I invested my money. Understand me?
You know, over the years we've seen cases of having is it anointed candidate they call it, or endorsing someone, you know, to actually vie for a position and all of that. But at the end of the day, if people would have to come out to cast their votes, somehow one would say that the end product of the endorsement and you anointing someone, you know, to succeed you, it's kind of like it undermines, you know, the dividends of democracy already.
Of course, because that anointed candidate may not be the best, but because the government or the governor then and his preferred candidate, he will mobilize every other thing within his power, including the state fund, including the security apparatus, including the other machineries to deliver that candidate. And of course, you know how these elections are conducted in Nigerians. At the end of the day, some of the electorates will be looking at who is giving the highest. And because of so much hunger in the country, you see them, they take cue. If you hear, for instance, the other man is giving 2,000 and the other man is giving 5,000, definitely you go run after the man that is giving. He may not be the best, but because you are hungry at that time, you have no option than to go and collect that 5,000. And that 5,000 naira is money meant to put borehole in the area, to construct road in the area, to address the light issue in the area. But you collected 5,000 naira and then remain in the dark for the next 4 years. So that is the problem.
Well, the perceived rot in the political space in the country at the moment, how would you analyze it? Is it something that started from the top, or is more like, from the bottom to the top?
Well, one would have expected us to be making progress in our democratic journey. But when you analyze, or when you look at what is happening now and just oppose it to the situation we are maybe some 15 years ago, you see that we are really retrogressing. We are retrogressing in the sense that, for instance, we talk about vote buying, but it has become part of our system today. They will tell you they will not tolerate vote buying, but when you go to the polling unit, you see it as open as.
No, but we're improving in that regard.
You see even some security agency aiding and abetting these things we're talking about. So why would one carry huge amount of money to polling? And at the end of the day, they tell you they have arrested so many. How many of them have they prosecuted? How many of them are in jail today? So we are not really making. Then look at our system of collation of results and what have you. Elections will be going on at the polling unit before you know it, the result is being announced somewhere, and somebody will tell you go to court. So why is it that we now so much rely on court to decide the fate of some millions of Nigerians? Some millions of Nigerians will file out under the sun and under the rain to cast the election. At the end of the day, somebody, because you have somebody in the system and you say, okay, go to court, and at the end of the day, 3-man panel, 3 persons will decide the fate of over 2 million, for instance.
But there's nothing wrong with one going to court. The judiciary is the last step of the common man, isn't it?
If you feel that your right has been infringed upon, or if you feel you have a strong case, the option is to go to court. But when somebody has done something with every impunity that any other person can see, and that same person will tell you go to court, it's another impunity on itself.
Right, that actually speaks volumes, no doubt. Now, let's talk about, point 6, where the governor of Rivers State, that's Fubara, would have to represent, the state budget to a properly constituted Rivers State House of Assembly. How realistic is that?
That is another problem.
Yeah.
There's a legal implication there. As at the time that budget was presented, there was a court pronouncement recognizing the other man, Edison, as the speaker. So even other thing the man conducted at that time remains valid. So you cannot ask the governor to represent a budget that's already been done and recognized by law. Now, I was told that there was an ex parte already granted to the other people, recognizing them, and then asking INEC not to conduct fresh election to fill their position. That ex parte in itself cannot vacate the ruling of the Port Harcourt High Court. The Port Harcourt High Court declared their seat vacant. So you cannot, by ex parte, which is just a ruling, an instruction, so to say, that has no force of law. You just advise these people to maintain a status quo. On its own, cannot stop that person. You understand? So all that they need to do is to go to appeal, to vacate that ruling, for them to be recognized. Otherwise, any other thing they are doing as we speak today remains invalid.
So automatically there is
they
no
have to
end.
Go to appeal.
There is no end in sight to
that is the thing.
The issue on ground.
With time, you begin to hear this argument.
This is a developing story, no doubt.
You will begin to hear this argument. There's a court said we want to ignore our judiciary and do whatever. This is just APC internal arrangement with the governor. So, but what is there? The larger picture. That is what we are trying to paint now. There's a legal pronouncement. That legal pronouncement recognizes that budget. So if you want to represent that budget, you are violating that law. So all that they could do is to go to appeal, to vacate that ruling.
Right now, of course, the State House of Assembly has been demolished. Yeah. And of course, it's going to take, millions or billions of naira, to set up again. Yeah. Of course, these are state funds. Yeah. So how would you even react to that in the first place?
It was done in bad faith. But some people say that they were done because they want to put up a more befitting state assembly. Why this time? Why would you demolish a complex? Some people said it was state of the art. Why would you at this time?
So the place was bombed some months ago.
Some years, partially burnt, not completely burnt, partially burnt. But some people were still doing their business there. So instead of you to have demolished it, either you repair or first you relocate the state assembly somewhere officially before you now bulldoze if you are doing it in good faith. But you see, during war, you don't begin to say, why did you bomb my house? I'll be bombing your house, you'll be bombing my own. So at the end of the day, we'll all sit back and begin to see what we have done to ourselves. So at the end of the day, the state will suffer, because they will use the state fund to build this a new complex for themselves.
What sort of conversation do you think the people of Rivers State should be having at this point in time?
Well, some of them had wanted the governor to continue with the fight because they see it as a liberation. But now that the governor has gone back to them, the implication is that the governor has betrayed them.
Has it really gone back?
From what we had and from even the agreement, by consenting to that agreement, it has gone back. It has gone back. But just like I said, there are things they are not telling us. What are the things that gave rise to these things that I'm talking about now? That some people resign their position. Why? Have you asked why? Complex was pulled down. Why? Do you understand me? The governor himself went to court and got a judgment to declare these other people's seat vacant. Why? So these are the things you need to address. It's not about, okay, you have to recognize these 26. So you think that those 26 that you recognize will become your friend tomorrow.
So at the end of the day...
So these things they've failed now to achieve. They will do it in a more proper manner tomorrow. Go and mark it somewhere.
Tomorrow could be next year?
Yes. It may not be too long. This thing will come. There may also be a push on the governor to join APC.
That actually speaks volumes.
There may be also, because some people may tell him, even among those people, they promulgate that the only way out is to join APC, so that you neutralize the powers of Wike is made, so that you be in the same meeting with him.
But where is Wike at the moment? Can we still address him as, a PDP stalwart?
Wike has never hidden his agenda. He said we mess up with PDP before he leaves. And he's doing it. And nobody's ready to really stop him. He's having his way. Don't forget that the issues in PDP today, the change in leadership, it was Wike them. The former governor executive, Fayose. They started with this, was it Kashim Shetima? They changed the secondus. You understand me? It was when they wanted to change secondus that the problem started. He brought secondus. But along the line, he said secondus was no longer doing his bidding. He needed to change him. That was where all the problems started. So
it appears if you want peace to
so
reign
all
in
these things
politics,
are just interests.
You must actually do my bidding. You have to be loyal.
Some people see politics in Nigeria as a business.
Isn't it?
Yes, politics is business. But again, why am I against? If a private person bring up money to fund you as a candidate, I don't have problem with that. But when you use things around you because of your position, the powers you occupy, the vote you have, and you use it to sponsor a candidate, and you want to also reap from that, who are you?
Well, we obviously can go on and on as far as this conversation is concerned and probably not even be able to reach a point of departure. But of course, veteran journalist and political affairs analyst Cosmos Ekunobi, thank you so much for your analysis on the program today.
Thank you very much.
Right. And that's it for news analysis today. Thank you so much for watching. I am Omoefe Peace Osamere. Do not forget to follow us across social media platforms at Politics and Business Television.